Welcome to Behind the Story, where we discover the story behind your favourite stories. My name is Lisa Renee from the Collab Press, and I'm also a sweet and clean romance author.
And my name's Naomi Craig. I write historical novels set in Bible times. We have a repeat guest. We're excited to welcome back Kim Vogel Sawyer to our show. We had her on about a year ago, and it's great to catch up with her. But before we get onto that pre-recorded interview, we'd love for you to hit that like and subscribe button on our YouTube so you are alerted anytime we come up with a fantastic interview of great Christian and sweet and clean fiction. Before we get started, Lisa, what are you working on?
All righty. What am I working on? Well, it's been a busy December. Last year I took December off and January, and it's summer in Australia, and kids are going on holiday. Yay! Sort of. So yeah, my writing schedule will be thrown out a bit, but I do have some deadlines. So I'm writing for the Trinity Lakes romance series that's coming out next year, and it's set in America, but there's Australian and American characters. So that's been fun. But I need to write my novella. It's a rom-com, the sweet and clean rom-com. It's a book 2 of a series that I'm releasing. So they're just 25,000 words, which is roughly half a novel, so a good size novella. And the first one is just come out as a single title, Faking It for Grand's Sake. And that's just a bit of fun. And so there's a second one coming out the end of January. So I need to crack on and write that story. I wrote quite a lot of it earlier in the year, but I had to focus, but now I need to refocus.
Excellent.
What did you read it, Naomi? What did you think? Have you read some of it?
It was fun. This one was Faking It for Grand's Sake. That was a lot of fun. I really liked how she stuck to her guns. Is that a phrase for you? Probably not.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
Like she saw that the pattern was going to be unhealthy with him being a workaholic, and said, I don't want to repeat that. I really appreciated that. But then it's not like he was the big bad wolf in as a workaholic. He did really well at his job and he really liked it. So I thought that was a really, really good balance. And then of course, he hasn't told Gran yet that they broke off the engagement. So he gets himself in lots of trouble. But it was a lot of fun. And Mrs. Baxter is back, so I approve.
She's on page 1.
She's there. And there's like an incident with falling in a floral bucket too. So it starts off with a bang. No, but I really enjoyed it. Well done.
Good. I'm glad I put a smile on your face. That's my goal there, just to have a bit of fun. And then, yeah, there's a little bit of a message in there, like divorce stories. What about you, Naomi? I'm really excited. We've been talking about what you and Donna are doing and other things. Tell us about what you're up to.
Okay, so I'm working on, I'm actually doing independent publishing for next year after my traditional publish, so it'll be busier. And that is actually a New Testament novel. And we are looking at the Apostle Paul, but we're seeing him from other people's perspectives. So like it'll be basically 4 sections, and each section is a different character who was impacted by Saul/Paul and his persecution of the church, and then it shows how he progresses from persecuting church to being the guy who's going to write half of the New Testament. First off, it's going to be with Stephen, and then Ananias from Damascus, and then Tabitha, and then also Barnabas. So some big names that you know in the Bible.
Awesome.
Yeah, so it's going to be fun. I'm co-writing with our good friend Donna Elaine. She's been on the show a couple of times. She has fantastic writing style, so I'm really excited about that. That's going to be a really solid book. So
it's going to be amazing. Both of you are very talented, and yeah, this is, a good genre to write in. And then you've got that experience in that genre and
Right.
that readership, and bringing Donna on, who, she writes Bible studies and things as well. So it's definitely a passion of hers, and she's an amazing fiction writer. So it's blending those two together and you guys coming together on this project. It's very exciting. I'm very excited about it. Yay.
Yay.
Yeah, so we have some giveaways coming up, and some paperbacks, so we'll talk about that soon. But Naomi, would you like to introduce our guest?
Yeah, absolutely. Our guest today, we're welcoming back award-winning author Kim Vogel Sawyer. If you follow Kim on Facebook, you'll likely find pictures of sunsets, old Christmas Carol lyrics, Operation Christmas Child ideas, and of course, kitty pictures. Kim, welcome back to Behind the Story.
Thank you so much for the invitation.
No problem. It's great to have you back. But for those who aren't familiar with you, just tell us a bit about yourself and what you write.
All right. Well, I'm Kim Vogel Sawyer, and I write predominantly historical Christian fiction, but I also do some contemporary women's fiction, the majority probably using old order Mennonite characters. I also have some just straight women's fiction and also a young adult series out. So lots of books, which is really fun.
How many books are you at now?
Number 60 will be out in April next year. Yeah.
Congratulations, that's fantastic. So your latest novel, Still My Forever, follows disillusioned musician Gilbert Baty? Baty. Sorry, Gilbert. My apologies. Gilbert Baty strives to get his career and love life back on track 4 years after leaving his hometown to make it big on the elite New York City music scene. Gil returns to Falke, Kansas with his head held low. As he tries to rediscover his creativity, he can't help by being distracted by Ava Flaming, the baker to whom he was briefly engaged before he ended things. Oh, he's finding herself even more drawn to Gil than she used to be. Tell us the story behind Still My Forever.
It's funny how just a little picture somewhere can just bring an entire story to life in a person's mind. But I was scrolling through Facebook and I came across a vintage image of a boys' band. And their costuming caught my eye at first because I thought, oh my goodness, that looks like little Russian clothing. And it was. And what it was the youngest youth band in the state of Kansas, which was started by a young man named Paul Crabb, who had moved from New York City to tiny Inman, Kansas, and began working with the young people in the town. And the band really became well known across the state because the members were so young. Youth bands were not uncommon, but to have the average age of 12 was very uncommon. And just the whole thought of someone coming from New York, I mean, I've been to New York. It's very, very different than 1,000 people Kansas town. So I was thinking of the culture shock and the settling in, and the story just started coming to life. But that's where it started, was just a picture from a museum page on Facebook.
Oh, cool.
There you go. That's how authors get the inspiration. Yeah, well, you got to get it somewhere. Yeah, that's interesting. Is how an image, a photo would trigger something, and then your mind just goes into that creative space, and before you know it, it's evolving to this storyline that you have to write. Okay, 1 Corinthians 12:7 says we're talking about a spiritual gift is given to each of us so we can help each other. That's the core of this story. What does that look like for Gil and Ava?
Well, for both of them, to a certain extent, they see their doing good deeds as a way of making themselves feel important and needed and valued. So we all have those gifts that we've been given that God wants us to use, but the main motivation really should be to glorify Him, not to glorify self. And so that's something that I think that comes through in the story. The other side of that is Ava really sees herself as her parents' caretaker first and everything else second. But God had a different plan for her life. And it took her a little while for her to reconcile herself with what God wanted her to do as opposed to what she really wanted to do. And I think we all wrestle with that to a certain extent. We make our plans, but God directs our steps. And she
Yeah.
had to lean into his plan for her to truly find her place of belonging.
Yeah, I love that. That's definitely going to resonate, I think. Whether it's something that you've put on yourself or something other people have put on you, it's just doesn't always line up with what God puts on you and has for you to do in this life. So this is a second chance romance and it has music as a key element. How did that play into your plotting and your writing? And if I recall, you had a special song composed and written. Is that correct?
That is correct. I really wanted an actual song to go with this story because, as you said, music was just integral to the entire storyline. I mean, a youth band inspired the story, so obviously music was going to come into play. And then, of course, by setting it in a Mennonite community, music has just always been so much a part of the Mennonite heritage. Singing together in church, worshiping in that way, music in community. It's just woven into the Mennonite heritage. So that had to be included. But I happen to have a very gifted brother who has been a director at Carnegie Hall in New York, and he's a published composer. So I contacted him and I said, I really want a song to go with this. Will you write the song? And he said, absolutely. And then I contacted my oldest daughter, who is a very gifted poet. And I said, I need lyrics to go with this song. I gave her a little backstory for my characters and just set her loose. And so she wrote these beautiful lyrics for Gil to gift Ava in the story. And what I loved about it when it was all said and done, this story was, I called it the band leader, because I wasn't sure what we would come up with for a title. But the publisher chose one of the lines from the song that my daughter and my brother wrote to be the title of the books, and that's to Still My Forever. So that was really special to me to have that used.
Oh, that's wonderful. Wow. So let's drop in the comments below. Let us know some other books that are musically like have music as really as a character. Tell us some of the books that you can think of right off the top of your head that have music as a character.
Music tends to come into a lot of my stories just because it's so much a part of my family life and
Mm.
so forth. But I think it's probably played the most prominent role in Freedom Song, Song of My Heart, and Still My Forever.
Mm. Do you listen to music when you're writing? Do you have some instrumental music or any playlists or?
I wish I could. My problem is I start singing the lyrics because I'm so familiar with so many different songs that I'll start singing in my head. And, it's really hard to write one thing and sing another thing in your head. So I have to be pretty cautious about what I do. I like to listen to music for inspiration, but when I'm writing, I really need to not have it on or it distracts me.
Sure. Awesome. Okay, so we do have a opportunity to chat about your upcoming book as well, the one in 23, The Tapestry of Grace, releasing in March. Follows reserve widower Conrad Rempel as he attempts to raise his mischievous twin boys. What is the story behind The Tapestry of Grace?
Well, this one was not a Facebook encounter, but I was doing some research for something else and I came across an article about the Frauenverein, which is basically a women's benevolent club. It was first established in New York by German immigrants. As more immigrants were arriving, there were a number of widows and orphans on the boat, and those that were already established really wanted to reach out to them. So they formed a group that would do that. And the idea of ministering to the widows and orphans just kind of spread to other communities across the United States with a strong German influence. And it did end up being in Kansas as well in some of the German communities. So that was fun to incorporate that. And of course, these women want to reach out, they want to help, but sometimes the best laid plans don't go the way we think they're going to. So it was a little bit of humor. It kind of incorporated itself into the story as well, although there are some pretty serious threads in the story too.
Excellent. And that one comes out, you said April, is that correct?
I believe it's in April, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Wonderful. And both of those covers are stunning. They're
Aren't they pretty?
fantastic.
Yeah, they just
Yeah.
did a really, really nice job with those. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because I'm actually working on a biblical novel in Acts, and of course, that's where we have the look out for um, the 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 Greek widows and orphans are getting slighted and stuff. So it's not a new concept to the Germans for sure, but it's definitely on the Lord's heart even since Deuteronomy and Genesis. So that's going to be really fantastic. Say that again?
The Frauenverein.
Frauenverein.
Yes.
What a fun! How much German is going into your Mennonite community books?
Well,
Do you know
there's
German?
some spattering. I know enough to get myself in trouble. Ich spreche Deutsch nicht sehr gut, but anyway, yeah, there's a few splashes in there, just for flavor. Yeah, try not to overwhelm it, but it's fun to incorporate it when I can.
So the story revolves around the power of prayer within a community. Why is it so important for people to pray for people they know, even if those people don't ask for help?
But when we pray, we're tapping into a power that's so much greater than our own. We're reaching out to someone who can do anything and everything, even when we are helpless. He never is. And by lifting other people up, we get outside of ourselves, outside of self-centeredness, and enter that realm of compassion and empathy. And I think that's a good place for all of us to reside from time to time. Particularly, reaching out to people that are more helpless even than we are. And I think orphans and widows certainly figure into that, particularly in the time period in which the story is written, when there weren't as many opportunities for widowed women as there might be today. It's always been a topic that's near and dear to me, as ministering to the widows and ministering to orphans. And so it felt natural to bring it into this particular story.
That's neat. That's a beautiful heart, and I know that's going to show through in all of your books. Actually, this next question is slightly related to that. On a personal note, how many Operation Christmas Child boxes this year?
By the time all was said and done, I packed 193 boxes. It
Wow,
was
that's
really, really fun. Yeah. Yeah.
that's fantastic. So, Operation Christmas Child, if you're not familiar with it, is not specifically for orphans, but it's people in children in a maybe a lower poverty level, and so you give them a little box of Christmas goodies and life goodies and stuff like that. That's how I understand it. I know Kim, if you follow Kim, you're going to find some fantastic ideas for when you come up unpacking yours next Christmas time. But it's really neat to see your heart for the children and the communities around the world as the Lord's found your heart. That's really beautiful to see.
It's an amazing ministry. It's just a joy to be a part of it.
Awesome. So, well, tell us what's coming up next for you, Kim.
I wish I could tell you, but I don't really know. I'm kind of between books right now, in the process of negotiating a new contract, and I'm not real sure. I have two strong ideas in my heart. One's a contemporary, one is historical, but we'll just see how my publisher and I land with that, and where we'll go next. But I've got characters clamoring in my brain wanting to come out, so I'm looking forward to writing again in January.
Excellent. Well, where can our readers and our audience find you online, Kim?
Well, you can always go to my website, which is just kimvogelsawyer.com, or social media. I'm most active on Facebook. I just find that one to be the most interactive. I enjoy it more than some of the others. So I would invite people to look for Kim Vogel Sawyer, author slash speaker on Facebook. Would love to communicate with people there.
Wonderful. All right. Well, it's been such a pleasure to have you back and just hear about these new stories that are coming out. And as an amazing achievement, like over 60 books. It's just, whoa, amazing. So
Struggles
well
me.
done. Well done.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for joining us on Behind the Story.
Oh, thank you so much. I enjoyed it.
To connect with Kim and her books, she's offering a book bundle, paperbacks of both Steal My Forever to be sent out now, and The Tapestry of Grace, and that will be sent out when it's published in April 23 to a US address. So we'll have the link in the show notes. So don't forget to have a go, because you could win these. It's quite easy. You just pop your email address in, and we don't keep your email for marketing purposes. It's just if you're the winner, we'll send you an email and let you know.
Very good. And we also have, as usual, our freebies attached. If you're here for Kim and the historical community, comment below, let us know, #Kim. And if you like reading historical novels and you like Bible Times, my book on Desolate Heights is free when you sign up for my newsletter. It's about Balaam and his talking donkey.
Yep. It's a great story. And I also have a free audiobook or ebook of Fake Engagement Mistake. It's a fun Christian rom-com. So the link will be in the show notes as well. Don't forget to subscribe, because we have a New Year's edition coming up on Behind the Story, and we've got some giveaways, some Amazon prizes, reader gifts, and some books. So hit that subscribe button, and we'll keep in touch about that.
Thank you for joining us on this edition of Behind the Story. Until next time, let us run with endurance this race set before us, looking unto Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith. See you next time.